Older professionals often describe Generation Z using a very specific pejorative term, the strawberry generation. The label suggests young workers are easily bruised and emotionally fragile, centered on their refusal to work unpaid overtime or answer emails after hours. To understand that frustration, we have to look at the economic environment that shaped baby boomers. They operated under a survival strategy where intense corporate loyalty and relentless labor were reliably rewarded with steady promotions, pensions, and upward mobility. Today's young workforce is adopting a completely different strategy. It's called acting your wage, a calculated, intentional withdrawal of discretionary effort when an employer fails to offer reciprocal loyalty or job security. Reframing these boundaries reveals a mathematically predictable biological adaptation, one calculated for survival in an increasingly volatile environment. The generation directly preceding Gen Z served as the shock troops for the modern digital economy. Millennials entered the workforce during the total economic collapse of 2008, forced to accept unpaid internships and a relentless hustle culture just to secure a foothold. That sacrifice yielded stagnant real wages, severe inflation, and a housing market so expensive that traditional milestones of adulthood became permanently out of reach. Generation Z watched this population-level psychological burnout from the sidelines. They saw firsthand that the traditional socioeconomic contract was no longer functioning. Gen Z's rebellion against corporate hierarchies is a logical response to that observation. They are refusing to replicate a survival strategy that has already failed their predecessors. The friction between parents and children is deeper than a simple failure of socialization. In 1974, evolutionary biologist Robert L. Trivers proved that generational conflict is mathematically programmed into human DNA. Because humans reproduce sexually, a child inherits exactly 50. We can see this adaptation playing out under the extreme environmental pressures of Singapore. It serves as a high-stakes stress test of modern meritocracy. The intense cost of living has trapped the sandwich generation of older millennials and Gen Xers, who must simultaneously raise young children and manage healthcare for their aging parents. Strict cultural norms demanding that family needs eclipse individual needs result in systemic population-level burnout for these individuals. Observing this extreme localized burnout explains exactly why Gen Z's biological bet hedging, including their strict insistence on mental health boundaries, is a necessary survival strategy. Biological evolution relies on genes passing exclusively from parent to offspring. It is a slow, methodical process, requiring multiple generations to produce visible change. However, cultural ideas and survival strategies transmit horizontally across massive populations almost instantaneously. Through digital platforms and global algorithms, Gen Z shares these new survival strategies across massive networks of non-relatives in real time. Gen Z lives as the immediate cultural descendant of a hyper-speed global network, a link that makes ideological alignment with older generations effectively impossible. Resolving these tensions requires moving past moral judgments and utilizing generational friction as an engine for collective progress. The mechanism for this resolution lies with the Zillennial microgeneration, born roughly between 1992 and 1998. Their unique experience of having an analog childhood but a digital adolescence grants them highly functional hybrid traits. They balance traditional professional structures with modern boundary setting. Because of this dual fluency, Zillennials act as cultural translators. They are uniquely equipped to bridge the communication gap between boomer resilience and Gen Z's demand for well-being. While genetic non-overlap ensures we remain distinct, the functional reality of this hybrid cohort provides a pragmatic mechanism for translation. Evolution pushes generations apart to survive new environments,